Hello everyone and welcome back to Chaos Creations. Well, it's about almost midnight here in Perth, Western Australia, and I just want to go over a few things. I have spent most of the afternoon speaking with people on the east coast of Australia, some people in the UK, some people in the USA, and some people within Asia, all about Legions Imperialis and Games Workshop in general. Um, to cut a long story short, most people are now of the consensus that Legions Imperialis is floating dead in the water to basically the nicest way possible. They think that it's not going to turn out for another couple of weeks, so 2, maybe 3 weeks. So you're looking at either mid-November or very late November, and it's just too little too late. By the time it gets out, they'll be starting to rush out the Christmas boxes, so it's not going to get a lot of love. And then, come early 2024 in February, we have the return of the old world, which I must admit I am looking forward to. But that said, I have had a huge love for Epic, and I think if it got enough love, it would cross over to 40k. I mean, let's face it, GW's big selling thing is, of course, 40k. It's their, starship that, makes the most money. Age of Sigmar does somewhat, but 40k is like the glowing golden child. So, I just noticed if I put my hands away, it goes darker and lighter in places. Isn't that interesting? Or they go darker, lighter. Oh, okay. I have to keep my hands on the table. So, if it got enough love, it would transfer over to 40k. So, but the general consensus is it's going to fade away into nothingness early middle of next year because you've got to bring out the Christmas box sets, which are always popular, and you want to plug them for as much money as possible. And then usually people don't have a lot of money for other games because they want to get their Tau or their Adeptus Mechanicus or their Chaos boxes or their Tyranny boxes and so forth. And I'm almost be one of those, but at the moment 40k is just taking a bit of a back burner as soon as I heard about Epic. And also 24, we've got the Return of the Old World, and like I said, I'm a huge Kenley player. So unless, of course, something majorly drastic happens, I'm not too sure if Epic Scale is even going to make it off the ground. It's not going to even survive its infancy stage, to be honest with you. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I am way off mark. But if it was up to me, it would be going on and we'd be playing Legions Imperialis. We'd have demons. We'd be having, it crossing over to 40k, by the end of the year, end of next year. But I don't make the rules, unfortunately. There is one interesting thing. Some people were saying about, movement trays and so forth for Legion Imperialis. And I remember these old ones that I made up for, I think it was Armageddon, which was supposed to be like a huge game. And what I've done is I've made it 3% bigger, but I've made it about, 50% height. Because with Legions Imperialis, the bases are a lot smaller. So you want it to be pretty snug there anyway. So, it's about half the size. So that at least that way, when, you've got things on the table, they're looking a bit more lower to the ground. I don't know if the camera's going to really pick that up, but that's what it is. So, if we've got lots of troops, we can whack them all in there and move them around however we like. Which brings me to my other problem. Now, this was old Epic that was, all right? So it's little dudes by themselves, pretty darn easy. Also, the fact is you had tanks like rhinos, like this 3D printed one here. It was just all one piece. You just like snip it off at the ends, boom, you got your rhino, you got your land raiders, you got your Lehman Russes, and so forth. Now, from what I'm hearing, and I were not hearing, I've been privy to some photographs that aren't out there for the public to see. And they show me the detail that they've got for the new miniatures and the new tanks. And it is devastatingly detailed. So let's say you've got, I don't know, this here, all right? Actually, no, let's use the other one here. No. Anyway, right, we're going to use this. So this pit would be one piece. This would be one piece. These on the side are all individual as well. So when you pop it off the sprue, you've got to pop these little bits on the side. Maybe the doors. I didn't see the doors, but it wouldn't surprise me. This scoop and this. And when it comes to the actual miniatures themselves, actually no, their bikes are a little different. These guys, now they are 9mm or 8mm. Each one has a torso and has arms you have to put on. And same like the Predators and so forth. They've got like the little lid, the side turrets, the side guns and pivot. And look, don't get me wrong, in some respects that's beautiful. Because I can have some with a little dude sticking out, I can have some with their shut, I have some guns sort of paint this way, out way, and so forth. It's beautiful. But it's going to get really old really quickly. I mean, when I put together one of my Warlord Titans, I'm there with tweezers putting that damn thing together, and it was painfully slow. But at the end of it, I got a nice big Warlord Titan, absolutely huge, impressive, and I had some spare parts as well, which was kind of funny. But the overall look, it looks stunning. But you only really have to make one or maybe two Warlord Titans. And, you're going to get like 5 or 6 tanks, and they're going to be on this tiny little spruce. I know the fact that I'm going to lose half a dozen infantry arms, infantry heads, and so forth on the ground. I even thought about putting down a little white drop cloth underneath my desk under here so I can just collect up all the bits and pieces that are going to fly off. So that's my other concern. I mean, the starting box set is essentially that, just a starting box set. And after that, you're going to need, some flying troops, some motorcycles, some speeders, and these little guys here, I don't know what they're called, but you're going to need, if you want them, and that's the good and the bad thing about it. You're going to want to specialize your army. I mean, I already had 3 ideas. First of all is just the swarm of infantry. Just go out there with lots of guys just swarming, and if it's on foot, it goes there, no tanks whatsoever. The other idea was to have, a nice mixture, be tank heavy and so forth. And the other one was to have lots of flyers, just like an air force just zooming across the battlefield. And that's great, but it also gets very expensive very quickly. The problem being, of course, they'll bring out a box set of 3 tanks or 6 tanks. Even if it comes out in a box of 5 tanks, let's say, you may need like 3 boxes of tanks. And if they're $80 for 5 tanks, which is a nice number, I don't think it's going to be 3 tanks for that price. I think it's going to be 3 tanks, not 5 tanks. I think it's going to be 3. And that way you're going to end up with an odd amount of tanks. And that tries to get people, I'll have another battalion of tanks, and away we go. And the third option I was going to have was just like, a Warlord Titan, some more hounds, and as minimum infantry troops as I needed, and go from there. But we will see. So the box set is just a starter. And then after that, you're going to need, from what I understand, there's a book just for the bikes and the flyers coming out. So already off the bat, you're going to want to add another couple of books, and just for flyers, and something for this and something for that, and then they'll do the review version, and the review version will have updated rules, blah, 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 blah. That's if we get to that point. I don't know if we will get to that point. I'd like to think we will get to the point. Epic, Horus Heresy, look, it is what it is. I didn't choose it. I'll run with Epic. I'm already thinking, once I have the rules, trying to figure out how to do like a demon army. I mean, they brought out the rules for a demon army for the Horus Heresy, and I looked at them and thought, oh, okay, no worries. So I'm going to try to figure out some rules and put it in for this game. I mean, I've already got demons galore from the old Epic days, I'm sure I can use like, the Juggernaut of Corn here, as one type of demon, and, the Slaaneshi. They're a bit small, but in friendly games, who really cares what the size is, as long as you've got something appropriate, and I've got some greater demons. You've seen another video, I've popped all them up. So I think that can be doable. Just got to wait for the game to come out. brings me to the last point, and this is the one that is scaring me the most of everything. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one that's doing any videos on Legion Imperialis regularly. Lots of videos from 3 months ago, 2 months ago, even a couple from a month ago. But is anyone out there doing YouTube videos really showing the love for this game? I think I'm the only one, and that scares me more than anything else. You would want them to be like lots of people going, oh my God, Epic is back. Woohoo, full steam ahead. Look, I got these nice, miniatures. I got this terrain. I'm the only one doing it, and I feel awfully alone. Anyway, it's getting late, and I'm getting a bit depressed by all this talk. If you have any questions, just ask. I'm doing one more. I always say that I've finished with my terrain. I'm doing one more piece of terrain. It is something very different. It is I'm going to paint it up like a marble figurehead, like like an imperial governess or warrior or something that's, broken down the statuette. And it's just going to be like the head, and it's going to be quite a large head compared to these miniatures. So it'll be about yay big, I think, if my scale is correctly. And what I'll do is I'll, paint that up best I can, try to remove the lines as much as I can, and then I'll pop that, and that'll be my final piece. I mean, I got the Stark Tower. I mean, can you get much better than that, really? That said, I still have my terrain from Abditus Titanicus that I never put together, mostly because I printed out a whole lot of stuff for it. What's the point of using the basic standard terrain when you can make all this exotic, weird stuff, which you've seen in my videos? I am excited and nervous for Legions Imperialis now. I hope I'm right. I really hope I'm right that it's going to turn up on the 28th. But everyone is telling me that it's too soon, that it's going to be at least another 2 weeks. And that is kind of sad, really. As much as I have the love for this, I must admit I'm getting a bit tired of waiting. There's only so much stuff I can print, paint, and figure and augment and enjoy without actually having rules to digest and devour and to, look at and go, ooh. As for price, I'm still hearing it's going to be around the 400 plus mark minimum. Some people have said it's going to be like 360 and so forth, and I think they're way off because you've got to allow for the Games Workshop greed. So I'm thinking it's going to be around about 460-ish. And that's also the problem that Games Workshop have. With coming up for Christmas, everyone is going to have limited money. Limited money now. I mean, the price of housing, food, fuel is a nightmare here in Australia at the moment. I just can't believe the prices. You see it at a price and you think, oh my goodness, that's cheap. And 9 months ago, you would have looked at that price and said, no frickin' way. Everything's on the rise. So money is going to be even tighter. So Christmas money is going to be, have to be well spent. And if you have a choice between a brand new system, which you really don't know much about, or getting 2 boxes of orcs for your orc army and a couple of, big heavy tanks and so forth, and, or you want to get a Tyranid and you get a couple of huge Norn queens or something, what are you going to take? You're going to take the stuff that you already have an army for, not for a brand new system that only has the bare minimums inside of it. I mean, if you're rich enough, sure, you could buy 2 of the box sets of the game. That's almost $1,000 drop, though, and even then, you could sell like a copy of the books on, eBay if you wanted to or something, but still that's a large investment for a game. And then you have the other all-important problem. Who are you going to play against? If the game hasn't been picked up, and if the game isn't being played regularly, finding a game is going to be even harder and harder. For a while there in my city, finding a Necromunda game was nigh impossible. And the reason why I found out, and this is quite interesting, is that there are a couple of Facebook groups for Necromunda in my city, but it's all like very close-knit community of mates. So unless, of course, you know someone within that group, you don't get to play a game, which is quite interesting. It's beautiful in some respects because you have a group of people that, play and they regularly meet up. But how does an outsider find where these games are? I asked in a couple of forums and so forth, and a couple of the groups locally, and, the last post was 2019, so I wasn't holding any breath. And I actually found out quite by accident by walking to a shop called Tactics, which is like a games shop, the only real game shop. Oh, no, we've got Odyssey now as well. So it was one of the few game shops we have, and I was about to buy a Necromunda box, and he wanted it as well. Got to talking, and he told me about his group, and I was like, wow, okay, cool, no worries then. So now I can play Necromunda. But even then, Necromunda is getting a little bit less and less, and they're all about the new expansions only, and nobody wants to play the core game anymore, which, it is what it is. Anyway, I think if there's enough people playing it, the game will take off and it will grow and get a cult following. I just hope that when it comes out, it's not overpriced, it's not too late, and, the expansions are not disturbingly expensive. I mean, somebody said that in the White Dwarf, all right, I'm going to go sidetracked here for a moment. When I initially got my subscription for White Dwarf, I was told, hey, look, if you subscribe, you'll get your magazine a day, maybe 2 days before the shops get it. So far, in 2 years, I have never got my White Dwarf early. So the one that's come out as of Friday, yesterday, in October, I haven't got it. Games Workshops have it. Third-party retailers have it. News agency have it. Mrs. Chan down the road in a little corner news agency / deli has them. Do I have mine? No. And I more than likely won't get it for another week, maybe 2 weeks afterwards. I don't know why it is. It ticks me off to no end. I've been basically lied to. So anyway, so in the latest White Dwarf, it has a write-up of the two factions, and there's like the red side, which I think are Blood Ravens, or anyway, that red side, I've been told, somebody worked out an estimation of price, that's easily, if not more, $2,000 for that army. And you have to remember, you're talking about a game where, you can, sweep up, $300 worth of inventory and pop them away because of a blast radius or a bang of a tank. And somebody for them, I mean, they could lose half their, tank battalion from me firing off tanks and so forth. So you need lots of little guys, lots of tanks, lots of everything. It's epic. It's on a grand scale. So you would assume the fact that, if I've got a squad of these, and let's say you get, 3 in a pack, so 9 motorcycles, you want that at a reasonable price. You don't want to pay $80. You want to pay Australian $50, maybe $60. That would be it, tops. But I don't think that's going to happen. It's almost like they're shooting themselves in the foot. We've got this fantastic game and we want it to make a lot of money. We've got all these expansions planned and it's going to cost you an arm and a leg and we're going to bring it out at the most inopportune time and we want you to buy it. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm going to go to sleep and I have a busy day tomorrow. Everyone have a great day. This is Chaos signing off. Bye-bye.